Good morning and welcome to the Goat's Tinker Shop. We're going to put a name to this series here once I get settled in. I'm not sure, but it's going to contain the word tinker. Anyways, I pulled out the 950 EICO and I got another surprise. Where else can you watch a YouTube video with so much drama going on? First of all, I called somebody Larry by mistake. Well, I'll tell you what, I looked it up. It is Larry that sent this to me, but I don't know his screen name. I'm waiting for an address so I can pay him for the shipping for that. But it is Larry. I have it written down. I found it. So anyways, on the 950 bridge, it's not a B. It's a 950 without the B. I ordered a 1629. Well, guess what? This is not a 1629. It's a 6-pin tube, so it's got to be a 6U5 or an E5, or one of them expensive ones. I got several schematics here. This is the schematic for the 950, but it doesn't correspond to the wiring on this one. This is the schematic for the 950B. 6X5 rectifier tube, which is right here. All right, I had to look in the PDF tube manuals, and I only got the version 5 of Adobe in my Windows 2000 laptop. So I'm getting a lot of errors when I'm opening up some of these tube manuals. But anyways, I've got the tube manual and I got the pin numbers. I wrote them out. And there is a resistor. I can't read that resistor right there because it's smudged, but it's a 680,000 ohm resistor, blue, gray, and orange. I have to resort to these things. I cannot remember the resistor color codes. Brown, black, and green is 1 meg. Brown, black, and red is 1,000. That's about the only one. And yellow, violet, brown, I think, is 470,000. Anyways, I used to remember about 4 or 5 numbers. That's it. I have to refer to these. But anyways, this circuit here, I hope I'm in focus, because if this ain't going to focus right, we're going back to the F40 again. But this is a 950. It's a 1629. This one doesn't say, but I wrote down 1629. On the 950, not the B, but the 950, there is no parts list. I cannot find it. I was lucky to get this, and I don't remember where I got this or how I got it. All right, so this thing is turning out to be a bigger problem than I thought, and I'm sure glad I did get a refund on it. Now, let me pull this out. I'm going to set you on the tripod here. This tape off of here. Why would they tape the tube in like that? I don't know. Matter of fact, they didn't even put a socket on this. Just push individual pins on this. Ha! That's what they did. They pushed the pins on the tube, the connectors. So we're going to try to lift this whole thing out as one piece if I don't crack the tube doing it. Let's see what we got here. 6E5. Now, I never heard of an EICO 950 using a 6E5. But I can't put a 1629 in here because these pins are fatter and I have to squeeze down the pins. Might be able to get them on, squeeze them down, because the pins are a little smaller in diameter than the 6E5. The 6E5 is a 6-pin tube. Now, why anybody would substitute a 6E5, I don't know. I'm going to get myself a paper tube manual because I'm having a hell of a time reading them on the computer because they're hard to scroll through. It's like anything else on the computer. I have a problem dealing with that. Reading a schematic is okay because I can blow it up, size it, you know, and everything. But when I'm trying to find something, I can do it so much faster in a paper manual. And I had a bunch of tube manuals. I'll probably get one. All this stuff's going to take time. So anyways, the circuit for this unit here seems to follow the 950B in some ways, but the problem is here. It looks like this is C1 and this is C1. See if I can get you through the magnifying glass. This is C1, but this is C1. Now, that can't be, because C1 is an 8 microfarad 525 volt capacitor, which is located right here. This is C1. This is the one I got to replace with two 22 microfarad 450 volt in series and put a 470,000 ohm resistor across each of these two capacitors I'm going to replace this with to level out the voltage equally between the two capacitors, as I mentioned. So these here, these both can't be C1. Only one can be C1. So there's a problem there. But the 68,000 ohm resistor is right here from pin 8 to ground. So that is what shows up on the 950B schematic. Here is the 950, the one I got. Same 6X5, no resistor, no 68,000 ohm resistor running to ground. C, it just says C, it don't say C1 here. So I'd assume that's C1. Okay? And then it goes to pin 8. There's no 68,000 ohm resistor from pin 8 to ground. There is a resistor here, I don't know what value it is, because there is no parts list for the 950. The 950B, but not the 950. And so this resistor runs to ground, but only through this pot right here. And there's another resistor running off of pin 8. Pin 8's the cathode, of course. And it runs to the I tube, which I wrote as a 1629, but in my unit it's not a 1629. So I ordered a 1629. I'm not going to go buying a 6E5. Those damn things are expensive. I hope this magnifier helps get you in focus here. This is the 68,000 ohm resistor, 2 watt. It runs from the chassis to pin 8, which is the cathode. And also on pin 8 is an electrolytic here. It looks like a new one, but I could be wrong. But I don't know the value of that. I can't get down in there to read it. But that is not C1. C1 is right here. This is another electrolytic. This might be the 4 microfarad. This might be the 4 microfarad. It goes to ground. See right the other end? So it runs from pin 8 to ground. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to replace whatever values are marked in this unit. Of course, this electrolytic will be 222 microfarads, 450 volt in series. But whatever these rest of these parts are, they're going to get replaced with the way they are wired in here, because neither schematic is right for this unit. I don't know what model this is. It's supposed to be a 950. You notice there's no B after it. It is a 950. It looks exactly like a 950B, but it is not exactly a 950B. This resistor is supposed to be a 68,000 ohm resistor, and it reads 83.4 thousand, so it has gone up in value. There are 3.01 capacitors, one here, and one way in the back. In order for me to get at that one in the back, in order to solder it in, I'm going to take this whole damn switch out of here. I'm going to have to pull it right out, hopefully not have to unhook it, so that I can get at the other side of it. Down here is a 500 ohm 5 watt, which I listed in my parts as needed, but it reads fine right on 500 ohms, so I will not need to replace that. Alright, here's that other 0.01 here. Now you can see that it's, for me, it'd be impossible to get at, to solder that properly, so I will have to take the switch out, hopefully not disconnect too many things in order to replace this. This capacitor here, as I showed quickly in the other video, is a 0.25. Okay, this is the 0.25 at 600 volts. Why it has to be 600 volts for the pot over here, I don't know. That's a bridge capacitor. I don't think it's precision. But anyways, that's what it calls for. This still looks like an electrolytic. And let me get a closer look at this. It's very difficult for me to get close-ups with this camera. I'm sorry, I can't get any closer than this. This looks like a 2 microfarad at either 400 or 600 volts. But it's electrolytic. See the plus and minus? Let me get you right in there. Maybe you can see enough of it. My hand's out of the way here. Alright. That can't be the precision cap. That's an electrolytic. That's an electrolytic, and that's 2 microfarads. I don't know, at 450 volts, I can't read that. It's buried in there, and it's very hard to see. I can't get in there close enough. But that, maybe somebody replaced it with a 2 microfarad electrolytic for the precision bridge cap. I don't know. But this can't be the bridge cap, because this one here is 0.25. I don't know. I don't know. But these schematics that I've got here are not for this unit. I'm going to have to wait on parts for this, because now I got to worry about the wrong eye tube. Now I don't know if I can adopt this to take the 1629. I don't even know if it originally had a 1629. It might have had a 6E5 tube in there originally, because nothing matches up with the schematic. The 950 schematic does not match up. It's so much simpler. They both have the 500 ohm 5 watt on the 54 volt winding here for the bridge. So you got 54 volts of AC on capacitors. If you remember me checking the voltages and found that they are pretty high for some of them low voltage capacitors. It always was with those things. Well, that's a current limiting resistor. So they both use that resistor. Here it is up here on the schematic on the 950B. But there's a lot more to the 950B. It's got a different arrangement of switches, I guess. But this here matches my schematic, except for this. These cannot be both C1, and that's what they're saying there. C1 for this and C1 for that. I took my magnifying glass as close as I could read that smeared print. They're both C1. Whereas on here, this isn't marked, just marked C only. This makes more sense because that's your 8 microfarad 525 volt electrolytic right here. So that is C1. But I don't have that 68,000 ohm resistor going directly to ground, like I show here. So the O1s are the same. This capacitor is the same. This looks like it's been changed. But it runs off of pin 8 to ground. So this model uses 2 electrolytics. Actually 3 when you count this one here. Alright, so where is the 2 microfarad precision bridge capacitor? Did this model use an electrolytic and did not use a precision bridge capacitor? Electrolytics have a very wide tolerance, nowhere near precision. Well, anyways, the pot's the same, so I ordered that and got that coming in. I can safely order the 2 22 microfarad 450 volt capacitors, which I'm going to use in series to replace this. Of course, these. And that's probably about it. I haven't checked all the resistors. There's more resistors here, let alone the precision resistors. Very strange there, folks. Very, very strange. Could this be a 950A in disguise? You tell me, guys. Thanks for watching. More to come later, so don't go too far away from your computer. You never know what I'm going to be throwing at you.